So hi, Soul Family, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Haji, and this is Amazing NDE Stories. Our guest today is Caia, and I'm going to call her Kai to make it a little easier for me so I don't mess it up. Caia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Haji.
Perfect. So just jump in and tell us about your amazing NDE.
Okay. My main near-death experience or out of body experience, whatever it was, happened 2008. But I need to probably talk about a little bit of my background, why I got to that point. And so I remembered some of my past lives on this third dimensional reality we call past life. So I called them past lives, but I remembered them, and then I was really confused of this body and the story I remembered. And I was quite a different child. So I couldn't fit in the society, and I could sense energy of people and things around me in the air, everything. And I felt this world is a bit weird. People say you need to love others or help others, but the people speak very harsh, and grown-ups speak something, but it is not the truth, because I could feel the kind of like density that between differences between the word and then the feeling they're feeling inside of their body. So I was like, oh, they're not talking, truth. So I was not understanding this reality so well. Then I was kind of halfway living in other lifetimes I remembered. And so I was very sensitive and didn't have so many friends, couldn't make so many friends anyway. So I was playing with all these animals and then insects and then reptiles and all that, because they just accept you as unconditional, like they don't care about who you are. They just be with you and then play with you. So I was really kind of like feeling well and how to say happy with nature and all those creators. And so I was feeling this awkward feeling, like I am not belonging here, but I am here, and I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't want to go too deep into the story, but I had a very difficult time with my mom. And at home, I was feeling isolated and then feeling sad and all the abuse I had. And at school, I was isolated again because I didn't have friends, and then they treat me differently. So I was always suffering from my heart to say, like, what is this? Why I need to be here? So I was talking to the stars at night, every night. After dinner, I went outside and staring at the stars and said, look, I know I don't belong here. Just, take me now because I'm ready. I'm happy to go back. But nothing happened. I thought nothing happened. But when I had a regression therapy in like, some years ago, I start to remember what was happening then. But as a child, I didn't know what was happening every night. Anyway, and my thought was so suicidal. I didn't want to live here because of this sadness and then loneliness and abuse almost every day, having from my family. And at that time, I was suffering, but I know now everything was my lesson, and then everything supposed to happen for me. But that time, I was suffering quite a lot. So I trying to leave from this body. I don't know, on the YouTube, I allowed to say committed suicide, but like I try to do a few times, and always failed. The last time I did was kind of halfway near this type of experience, but it was kind of miracle story that I was on a bicycle at night going to a school after school. And then so I was going on the road, And then I thought, if I go into that truck coming towards me, and then I can go back, I can go home. So I was aiming to go into the truck, and then I started to see the lights, brighter and brighter and brighter. It's like merging with that light, it's more like white light. It's not white light. When you see, it's more orange, but I could see the color was more white. And then I was getting in there, and then I could feel the happiest feeling ever. I was like, wow, this is good, like I feel so happy. And I'm just talking like this as a story, but this happened in a very short time, okay, because the truck was coming very fast. And next moment was bang. And then I felt like something pushed me. And then I realized that I was on the rice field. And how weird, I was lying on the rice field. It was almost 100 meters away from the road I was, aiming to go into the truck, And I was like, I still have a body. And then I am far, far away from that road. What's happened? And one lady, she was on a scooter. She came very angry and upset, and screaming at me, but I couldn't hear her properly because I was like half here and half there, and then I was not understanding what was happening. And she was saying something like, how dare you, like, trying to get in there, or kill yourself, just be careful, stuff like that. And then I thought, okay, maybe she saved me, but I didn't see her coming next to the truck. And one point I just said, I was 100 meters away from the road I was in. So it's not possible. She pushed me and then I just flew 100 meters, right, on the rice field. But anyway, I just gave up. I said to the universe, okay, this is not my time. So I tried to live life. So thank you so much for the lesson. Anyway, so my thought was very, very negative, and every day I was thinking of, how can I finish my life and stuff like this. So from here, I shifted myself to positive, obviously. It was like I needed to apply the technique and an affirmation to change my mind, my subconscious information to change to positive. So that happened. But anyway, then I was feeling better after this process of shifting my mindset, and my life was getting better and better. Then I met my husband. My husband, I was not interested, but anyway, he was a French, and I was living in Australia, and I saw him, and then I was not interested, but he said to me, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? And then that moment, I went into his eyes and then go into the heart and then came back. And I heard the voice say, you married to him, in English. And I was like, whoa, okay, I never had this before, but I have a Turkish boyfriend, so what should I do? But I was going to finish end the relationship anyway with that Turkish guy. But I was like, I'm not interested in this French guy. And then, what's happening, Then next thing happened was I just married to him in 2 months time. After this happened, he asked me for, going to having a cup of coffee with him. And then 2 months later, I was married. I married to him. So I needed to move to France because, I didn't have a long-term visa in Australia. He didn't either. And so I went back to Japan, and then he came, sign up on the paper to marry, and then we went to France. Then that shifted me, because as soon as I went into that country, I'm not criticizing, or I'm not saying like everything is about that, but I'm saying like I felt heaviness. It's really heavy energy. It's probably my karmic connection to that country or culture. Then I felt so heavy, and then I went to his house to live with his parents. They're lovely people, but I couldn't understand the language, and he was too busy with his friends. And then I was alone again. And then my mother-in-law, don't take it wrong, she is lovely. She loves her son, and then I like her now. But we're misunderstanding, and then she was trying to tell me something which hurts me a lot. So I was putting myself in a small box. It's like I couldn't get out of the bedroom. I couldn't understand language, and I didn't have anyone to talk to. And if I go to the kitchen, my mother-in-law is there. And so I was so afraid of the world. I was just putting myself into the small box, and I was accumulating negative thoughts again. It was coming back again, like when I was a child. All thoughts I had, I thought it's cleared everything, but in a sense, I was coming out, coming back again. And that energy, the accumulation of that energy made me very, very sick. And one day I was drawing something like on this kind of paper. I didn't recall what I was doing, but when I realized, opened my eyes, that paper was black because I was just drawing with the black ink, black pen. And I was like, oh, it's like possessed. I'm not saying like I was possessed, but I felt like something was possessing me. It was like negative, dark energy. And it's felt like the same energy that talked to me when I was a little child. It came when I was like primary school student. I know I talk to spirits sometimes, and then my higher self talk to me, and the helpers talk to me, and this voice I hear. Normally, they're very from the good place. So they guide me through my journey. But this voice I'm talking about was completely different, because when I was walking home one day and by myself, this voice came, but really, really heavy and dark. But he talked to me. I say he because it's more masculine voice. He said, "You work with me." And I said, "What? I'm not working. I'm a student, like, what are you talking about?" But anyway, so he said again, "You work with me. I will help you." But I felt really negative. I felt really heavy. And then I said, "I don't trust you because you're not the same voice I hear normally. And then I don't like your energy." He stopped talking to me, and then he came back again. He said, "Now you work with me. I will help you." And then I said, "No." So eventually, at the end of the day, he stopped talking to me. But it was like that energy when I was in France, being in the bedroom, being myself, and then drawing this pitch black, I don't know, picture or drawing. And so I felt really ill after this. I started to cough, and then I started to have a fever, very high fever. And coughing, cause of sleepless, because I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and like I was feeling miserable. So I was on the bed for so many days with high fever, very high fever. I went to see a doctor, but I couldn't stand up, so I was crawling on the on the floor, seeing a doctor at his house. And then everyone else, waiting for him in the waiting room was like, "We shouldn't touch her. Maybe something about her." So they were so scared of me. Anyway, so I went to see him, and then he only gave me antibiotic and then painkillers and all that. But anyway, so it didn't help. And so my coughing was getting worse and worse. And then one day, after so many days that I was sick, about 6 or 7 o'clock, but it was dark. And I said to them, means like my helpers, "Okay, I'm ready. I don't need to be here anymore." Then that moment, I was here, but felt like I was out. But it's not like I changed the location. I just shifted into the different reality. It was blackness, but it's not black, scary darkness. It was alive. And it was like I described one time, but it's difficult to describe. It's like nano-sized little things floating and creating all this blackness. And then I knew I was this whole, the void, I called it, like void energy. It's a black energy, but it wasn't scary. And then also, of course, I don't have a physical body anymore. So I didn't feel this coughing and then all the symptoms. And then I felt relaxed. And then no worriness, anxiety, or fear whatsoever. And then I knew I was in a safe spot somehow. And then it was like, felt like I was here before. And then my thought came. I don't know, this is probably my thought form, but then now what? Because I knew a lot of things in that place. Like when I think of something, answer is already there. And then I knew everything is here and then nothing is here at the same time. It's kind of feeling. And then I heard the voice, my friend's voice, safe one, good one. And it said so many things, which I regret in a sense. This could be my ego, but I couldn't remember. I had a conversation, long conversation with it, but I cannot remember anything except one thing. It said, you need to find a DVD in your house and watch it. That's it. And laugh. It said, laugh. And I was thinking like this, but I was almost dying, and then I think I'm dead, and then this is not easy to laugh. This is nonsense. But anyway, keeps telling me you just need to go back there to find the DVD, watch it. And so I'm like, okay. Then that moment, I was in a physical body. And I was like, okay, I am very heavy. It's like coming back to the density, sucking into the physical body. It's not terrible, but it was very dense. And then I remembered only these things, find the DVD. So I went out of my room and I was just searching for this DVD in the house. I didn't care whose bedroom it is, okay? Parents' house or someone else's house, bedroom. I just went in there and then find that DVD. And then I found that DVD exactly they mentioned. And I was like, okay, so I found it. I just need to watch it then. And that was the comedy show from America. It's called Friends. And I watched it before, but I needed to watch it again. So I was like, okay, it was a series of it. So there are so many DVDs as a set. And then I watched it for 2 days and a half. And my symptoms was going away little by little. And about the day, probably a bit less than 3 days, my symptoms, all of them gone. So I was healed just watching the DVDs. And then also my awareness, like my consciousness awareness, somehow I was here, but I was there halfway. So it felt really weird, but I was still there, connected, and then I'm in a physical body halfway. So I didn't remember so many things, what happened for several months after this type of experience, because I didn't have a body. I was out of the body in a void of energy, having a conversation with it or they, you can call collective. And the voice gave me instructions and stuff I don't remember, which I'm crying about it. It would be nice to know all that, but I probably not supposed to know it. And after that, the search of spiritualities, why I am here, who am I, start to happen. Because before this experience, I was more like third dimensional reality experience having every day. I didn't really, think of my purpose or why I'm here. I was just living life every day. And after this experience in France, 2008, I felt like I was given the second life, that I need to use my existence for divinity. And it's not like I am the servant of the divinity or divine. I'm just saying, like, this is the vehicle. Okay, use it. I should do something about my life to make it better, you know, instead of suffering, crying about it. Because my mind was much clearer. It was more like focus on my life purpose than before that I had this experience.